This button to bring up the new walls.
Hello, my name is Edwin. I'm with the Riichi Mahjong Club.
I'm Patrick. I'm also from the Riichi Mahjong Club.
And looks like we got a game started here with Howard Kwon, who's playing East. Attends our club occasionally. Mostly I know him through Anime. Alex Bustillos, who plays in the South position. Amherst is the head of the Linwood Mahjong Club, familiar with Anderson. So let's see how everything goes to start.
Yep. So just from glancing at each of their hands, it doesn't seem like any of them have any particularly like amazing hands, but they're not really terrible either. I think Sam has probably the best hand here. It seems like he has 4 out of his 5 blocks already set up, and then his last ones are already going to be pretty easy to form.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to read right now as they're in the tell, so I'm just kind of waiting to see what everybody else has.
Yeah, that's fair. From what I can tell, Howard's hand is also pretty decent. Both Howard and Sam look like they're going to be able to create nice tanyals out of them. Howard extra incentivized to just call for it because he's a stealer.
Yeah, possibly, but I'm wondering about what he's gonna have to discard to get there. We'll see. We'll just see how it plays out.
Yeah, for sure.
No. Anderson's hand quite. Alex, unfortunately, is a bit away.
Yeah.
There's some remote strong strokes possibility, but he has to draw the right tiles, so that's going to be the case regardless.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't help that he's been drawing nothing but honor tiles either, so he hasn't been able to advance his hand too much. Sam was able to get a second Dora, so I don't think he'll be able to actually get the Tanya thanks to that 9 completing one of his sets, but he's actually pretty close to getting Senpai already.
Yeah, he certainly got some. Well, he can still probably work with it, all things depending, because he could always pitch the 8-9, start finishing some of his other melds that are up there.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't get the Tanya, he has a good chance for or not a good chance, but he has a chance for Sanchoku as well. So all things considered, his hand's pretty good.
As much as a car.
Sam is also able to, like, he has 2 Dora, but he has that, he'll probably want to discard that 1-2 Penchan in his hand because it's slowing down the rest of his hand.
It's almost like we've looked into investing in tables. But like Kevin was saying, there's a...
Yeah, see Sam with that Forso could easily easily 8-9 and then have maybe inside weight for Ipeko, but it'd be a guaranteed Yaku at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so looks like he decides to drop the 9 and go for the timer after all. This is still workable. It's just that he needs to be careful about getting about 3-10 afterward. And I think he still has 6 blocks unless he decides to he can drop the 5 mon, or he can drop the 7 mon. This, obviously, if he drops the 7 mon, then he goes down 1 Dora, and that's not going to be very preferable.
It's like $20 a game. A full hanchan? Well, if you get good players, you can play in like 45 minutes. Still.
Yeah, Alex hasn't been able to progress his hand that well. Anderson 4 in the 6th and earlier seems to be focused on trying to finish his existing blocks.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Oh, he dropped the 2 mon when he drew the 3 mon, presumably because he didn't want to get into Furitan, I think.
Yeah, that's just more unfortunate than anything else.
Yeah. It's not much. There's not really much you can do about that.
Is Alex going for Chitoitsu having dropped the Tuso?
I think he's just 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 6 blocks, and he's
He just drew his 5th pair.
yeah. So yeah,
I think he was thinking about Chitoitsu beforehand, and he's just gonna follow through with that.
yeah. He has he definitely has 5 pairs now. So yeah. I guess he wanted to keep he was committing to Chitoitsu a bit early, and it worked out because he managed to get the his 5th block. Howard managed to get his Senpai, so he's waiting on that 1/4 so, which two of them are in Sam's hand. Two of the other all the ones are being used in either Alex's or Anderson's hand. There's 1/4 inside of Anderson's hand. So realistically, there's only 1/4 so left for him to take. And looks like Alex is going to be shifting to Sananko possibly, or Toy Toy.
If he's comfortable dropping the 3-pin and the 4-so, but
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't see the door. He doesn't have any of the door either. So it may be with a dealer reach hard for him to push at this point.
Yeah. Well, so the 6-pin came out, which means that maybe he'd be a bit more comfortable dropping the 3-pin, thanks to Suji. But of course, if he never gets tiles to advance his hand in the first place, then there's no point.
Yeah, it'd be hard against the dealer reach.
Yeah.
So
the other thing is that he doesn't really have any safe tiles to begin with, I think. At best, you can sort of argue that the 9 mons look safe because of the early 8 mon discard, but other than that, everything else is pretty dangerous in his hand. So he might want to just like push with very small safety cues.
doesn't look like anyone's really bailing though, because Sam's still going for his hand.
Yeah. Well, Sam dropped the 7th so and the 8th so, so he's not fully bailing, but he's doing the thing where he is trying to like make the best out of his hand while dropping safe-ish tiles. So look, for now he's just trying to get back into Senpai, I think.
With that call, he's not quite.
He's still Ishanten, and he'll have to be brave enough to drop either the 3-so or the 4-so. Unfortunately, the 4-so is gonna lose in the game, so we'll see what he decides there. Actually, if he draws the 2-so or the 5-so, he can drop the 5 mon and still be in Senpai.
Give him to temptation. Give him to temptation.
So Sam's maybe just going for the Tenpai payments.
Yeah.
At this point, because with that 9, there's no actual Yaku.
Yeah.
And we're approaching the end of the hand.
He made a really good call just now to take the was it 6 mon from Anderson? So this put him in a really good position to just keep his Senpai.
Oh, you got my 4. No, it's my 1s.
What did you mark?
I mean, these right here? Oh, yeah. So, I'm a no 10.
No 10. Alright, so you're getting 15
So,
and Mikey 9. And the Riichi stick stage.
I did put on this thing, right?
Don't bother.
So I think that was a good play from Sam. He recognized that the 3 is safe enough to discard. Okay, so he cheated the 4 mana, not the 6 mana. My mistake. But anyways, yeah. He recognized that he can drop the 3 cell and it will be somewhat safe, and you can keep the Senpai tournament.
But it was still a gamble because even with the early spikes of discard by Howard, it didn't quite indicate which. I mean, it if anything, if it did indicate a Sozu that he was looking for, it would have been a low Sozu. So, relying on the fact that Howard didn't have his weight.
Yeah, it was still a gamble. It wasn't 100% safe. But he did the best he could, and it paid off. So props to him there.
Alright, let's take a look at hands as they build. Sam's
hand looks slow besides that south pair.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on there. He's got the south and the 1-2-3 mod, but not much else.
Yeah.
Howard's got. It's hard to say. I mean, depending upon what he draws, I suppose there's a possibility for a Chanda, but that 6 mod kind of ruins that, and he'll just have to work with some of his edge weights at this point.
Yeah. His best bet's probably to discard those tiles, which are those lone tiles like that Tuso, and then see if he can sort of eke his way towards a Yakuhai maybe. Oh, no, he's just gonna drop it, so he's just gonna go straight tile efficiency. It's gonna be pretty hard, like, regardless. Anderson's hand looks decent. It's hard to tell because it's not blocking.
And unfortunately, the camera's not quite picking up Alex's hand, but he's definitely got some pieces to work with. And it looks like he's deciding to go for some type of Kanye route with discarding the south and do after that.
Yeah.
Actually, if anything, Anderson's got the closest thing to a Chanta type possibility with the way his hand's structured at this point.
Yeah, for sure. It's just that he has that 7-pin and that 4-pin in his hand, and it's not generally a good idea to discard those very greedily. Fortunately for... did you see what he cheated just now? I think he cheated something.
No, he hasn't taken anything. Although Howard's declared reach waiting on 4-7-pin already.
Oh wow, that was fast. Yeah, so
Which will make Anderson...
Yeah.
Is it in your chair?
At this early juncture, though, people generally will just continue playing because there's so little information to go off of that until you get more information, you just continue playing as normal.
Yeah. There's not really anything to go by in his hand. Except for the fact that he's definitely not waiting on those specific honor tiles.
I'd be worried at this point if Anderson gets his Chun, his Red Dragon. He might be likely to call and could end up discarding that 7-pin that just isn't working for him.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough, and so unfortunately, in order in order to advance his hand, he's probably gonna need to drop either to 4 or to 7, and both of those are gonna be game over.
Sam did try to go for the Chanta.
Yeah. Chanta
Uh,
Sunchuck is what he would have gotten.
Chanta Sancho.
Yep.
Then.
I guess he went for the more greedy play, and that kind of bit him.
I did that because it put me in 10 back at free class race.
Oh, it's not. Oh, it wasn't a Chanta because he beat the 5. So he had a 4, 5, 6. So it would be Sunchuck.
Okay.
So I guess what happened was that he tried going for a fast hand in order to end the reach early, but because of that he had to drop a middle tile, which was dangerous.
I have to bear this burden.
You have to. The thing you have to weigh is between what your opponent's hand is worth versus what you have, and whether or not it's worth it to push.
Yeah. I think that digital theory is something like if you have a good weight and you're already Ishanten, or your hand's worth a Mangan, then you should push, but otherwise you should bail. Obviously with a lot more nuance, but that's like a general idea. So
Howard's already got a really good starting hand. Can't quite check out Alex's, but it doesn't look. He's got tiles he can certainly draw around. Anderson
immediately drops the Dora, actually.
But definitely if you're looking for something early to draw, probably the South might have been better.
Yeah.
Since he's drawn the 8 as a result. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but surely you can probably work around the 7 more than you could the South.
Yeah, I think the South, also the 1-so, were both might have been more ideal first discards.
I'm finally looking at Sam's hand. He's gotten some okay parts to it, and he's certainly drawn the 4, which will certainly help him out building his hand. A little slow right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, doesn't seem like he'll be able to get too much value besides Riichi Pinfu maybe. Oh, nice draw. So this definitely looks like a budding Pinfu hand. If he gets lucky, maybe he'll get Tanya out of it.
Yes, not discarded. Just count the discards.
Alex is a couple tiles away from a possible Itsu. Then he can certainly work around it, but that force a discard, he's certainly looking that way.
The nice thing about Alex's Itsu is that it's callable. He already has the 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, the one tile he needs is the Dora. So that's probably not going to come out of Howard's hand anytime soon.
Well, Sam looks like he's Vianshanten, 2 away. Anderson has got quite a few.
Oh wow.
Anderson, is he?
He's going for the either Chitoitsu, Suanko, or just Toy Toy. Judging by that 7-so discard. He's a bit far out from it though, I think.
I think if he wanted to stay flexible, the 9 Mon probably was the better discard, because he could, if he's drawing like another like a 5-so or something like that, he could have, or even another 8, be able to drop the other 6 Mon and then have a Tempai, I believe.
Yeah. Because both the 7-so and the 9-mon still have 3 tiles left out, but the 7-so is connected to other Sozu around him, so it's a bit more flexible in use. What did Anderson draw that's making him think? So he's really hard committing to his Chitotsu now.
Well, it's either that or it,
Seems you're choking.
it could be a Toitoi call? I don't know.
Do you see a protection?
No, he's just discarded a free bamboo and then a fork.
Is he Ishunten? Yeah, he's Ishunten at this point.
I'm going for a very dumb play right now.
It's on Shoku, but at least with Kudora, it will certainly work.
So,
Yep.
oh, he wants to go bigger. Actually, will that even? Never mind. Never work? Oh, shoot.
He did it.
Okay, looks like
Alex calls that 6 and is going for...
Itsu.
I guess he's gonna push for the Itsu at this point.
Yeah, that's the only Yaku he has available to him, unless he wants to, like drop the 9 and the 1 for the Tanya. Anderson managed to get his 5th pair, which is nice for him.
The better part is that he at least has... His tiles are still live, but yeah, with that... He's definitely committed to Chitotsu.
Yeah. Howard decided to drop the 9 pin and keep the 3 pin. I guess he still keeps a 3-5-7 shape instead of the 5-7-9 shape. And the nice thing about it is that he already sees 2 8 pins out, so this is a slightly stronger shape despite using middle tiles. Unfortunately for him, he's just getting a lot of trash.
2 of the 4 pins are unavailable and 2 of the 6 pins are unavailable, so he's only sitting on 4 possible tiles.
The other thing is that if he draws a 4 pin, in order to get a 10 he'll have to drop the 7 pin, which will be kind of unfortunate.
Meanwhile, Sam looks like he's gone. No, I thought he was.
Yeah, Sam just dropped his 3 pin.
I think he's hoping to prove it into a Sancho state, but he can certainly switch it around if he wants to without 4-mana draw.
He's just keeping it simple, it seems like. He's going for straight tile efficiency. Doesn't seem like anyone's hands are really progressing right now, which is kind of unfortunate. Ooh. Alex is drawing tiles, which are very nice if you're going for tile efficiency, but because he already called, he's constrained to like two very specific tiles that he needs, one of which is unlikely to come out. So it was a nice effort to try to call, but it's gonna be pretty hard. Dropping the 9 pin?
Must be that he's giving up on the hand and making sure he's not paying into anybody possibly at this point. They're approaching the end of the 3rd row.
That's true, except the 1 pin, the 1 so is already in 2 of their discards, and then against Howard the dealer, it's both Suji against him, and he's already, okay, he hasn't opened up, but it is Suji, so it's very unlikely for him to be waiting on that.
Nope.
Oh, almost nobody's waiting on the 9, mostly just because Anderson had 3 in his discard pile, but looks like we're at the end, and Anderson and Sam are tempai.
And we
Yeah.
Sam managed to get there at the very...
two. Yeah. I think those bonus.
Yeah, but like
And also your
if Alex had kept the 9 pin, he could have. Howard had just dropped the 3 pin, so he actually could have just stayed in tenpai, while by keying that, while still like dropping a safe discard, because the 1 so is almost certainly not going to be called. So
I was going for all doubles. Yeah, what are you doing? I almost had it.
Man, you had all you drew 5 of the tiles I needed to get into tempai. I'm like, be strong, don't call.
With Howard being no 10, dealership passed on to Alex.
Green is
You're East 2, 3 Homba.
wow, 3 Honda.
Dragon Door is always.
Fortunately for Alex, though, his hand looks a bit slow to start out with.
It seems like everyone's hands are a bit slow.
Anderson is somewhat in the same boat.
What do you think he's going for that 7 so discard right off the bat? I'm talking about Anderson's just now.
I mean, I don't know. At this point, I would imagine he's actually pushing for Kokushi.
I guess. 1, 2, 3,
Two,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay.
That's not terrible.
Yeah, can I get the piece of paper with the all
It's
the
not
there?
terrible. It's just that I would imagine that it'd be more preferable to first drop the 6 pin, then the 8 mon, because those are the ones that are less likely to be used in case you get tiles which let you pivot over to Chanta. Like see, he just drew the 8 so he could actually just pivot over to Chanta at that point while still keeping a lot of
Yeah,
safety.
I think I would have. I think if I were to do that, then it would have been the 6 pin and the 2 mon, because even if he discards one of the 2s, 3, then he still has the other one, so the chance is still available to him.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that works too. But now it seems like he's more or less committed to Kokushi. So we'll see how that goes.
And meanwhile, has 2 completed melds. Has tiles to work around. Oh, sorry, 3. Although his 1-2-2-2 shape is very flexible.
Yeah, 1-2-2-2 is pretty great because you're waiting on both. Oh. Okay, that works too. So by getting rid of the 1 pin, then he's securing the 2-2-2 as his triplet, but he's still missing a pair. So that means potentially he'll have to drop one of the 2 pins anyways, unless he manages to get a pair up somewhere else.
I mean, there's 4 tiles available for him to draw a pair. The bigger issue will be that currently, even if he draws a pair, he's looking at an inside weight either way.
Yeah, it's one of those hands which are both simultaneously a bad weight and valueless. So he's gonna need to figure out some way to improve it. If he had kept the 1 pin and just dropped either the 2 so or the 8 pin, then he had a good chance of ending up with the 1-2-2-2 shape at first tenpai, which is waiting on either the 1 pin or the 3 pin. But he didn't go for that, so. Oh yeah, see, he just drew the 3 pin. He decides to keep 3-pin, which means that he has a chance to get into free 10 now. If he decides to, if he draws a 7-pin and drops the Forso, his other option would be to drop the 3-pin and then Tonki way on the Forso in that situation, which is equally as unfortunate. But he decides to keep the 5-mon instead, which is more or less the same situation. It seems like Alex's hand is progressing nicely.
Looking at Anderson's hand, and he's turned it more into. It's gone less into a.
Oh god.
More into. Something that's getting closer to Chi Toitsu. Joe?
What a monster hand. Although, I don't think he sees it that way, because looking at how he's organizing his hand. Especially because all 4 9s are out, so Kokoshi is kind of completely out of the way. Okay, Sam is Tenpai, and he declares Riichi on the Hanchan 4-mon weight. There's still 3 of them out there, and doesn't seem like it's being used in anyone's hand. So, I guess this can work out for him. It'll be 1 in 40 for 1300 if he gets no Dora.
It looks like regardless, Anderson's going to continue pushing.
Yeah. Would you push for this hand, Edwin?
I'd push for as long as I could. At least as long as I figure I could.
Because I think the 3-pin, the 5-pin was pretty dangerous there. So.
5-pin was dangerous. Like I said, I'd push for as long as I could, and the 5-pin might have been like, I can't discard that.
Yeah.
Especially after a 3-pin discard. There's still a possibility he had like a 3-3-4 shape, discarding the 3 to go reach, waiting on 2-5.
Yeah. Well, at least now they all have a lot of information. Like, the 5-pin is safe and the 2-pin is safe, even though none of them have it.
You laugh at my charitable service.
Alex is left with a very hard decision of whether he should push or bail, given that he's dealer. And he decides to bail. I don't blame him at all, to be honest.
Well, it's interesting because he discarded the 7-pin after the reach. The 1-pin. That Sam's waiting on a 4 as if it's an inside weight because of the Nakasuji. I don't see that 4 as being as dangerous against Sam, per se.
Yeah. It's definitely, I think, less dangerous compared to, say, the 3-so that he has. Or no, the 3-so is safe because he dropped that 1-4. I guess a better example would be the 6-so. And then...
Yeah, I would have figured, looking at Sam's discard pile when he declared a reach, that most Monzu should be off the table to discard. Yeah. Just and the tiles that he's discarded since the Riichi kind of confirmed that, at least in my opinion, if I was just looking at the discard pile.
Yeah, for sure. The only Monzu that's really safe is the 9-mon. Anderson went really aggressive there, but unfortunately Kokoshi was literally impossible. so he couldn't get what he wanted.
Four.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I was waiting for a pair for so long.
I've won like 2 games, and then we haven't really like done anything since then. We've stagnated.
Yeah. I've just been collecting no-10 payments.
You want to put the Riichi deposit back too?
No, no-10.
Yeah, but technically you aren't Riichi.
Right, but it
It
stays in the
stays
middle.
there.
So they've got to take that Riichi stick out of center, but it'll be E3 for Honda with 1 Riichi stick in play in terms of
Is it a good door?
eventual winner at the end.
Oh boy, have you just been collecting hombas since the start of the game?
Hey,
That's pretty funny. It's good on these players at least that they're not filling in too much. So
I did know that.
It's not the fapping or it's not trying to be our.
most of it has been just weird.
Yeah, so far as I can tell, Sam, Alex, and Howard are all fairly decent players in the sense that they're generally not ones to easily deal in. They may, like Sam did earlier, but has a pretty good head as to what he's looking for.
We're still here.
Is this E3?
East 3,
Yeah, he made a calculated risk, and that's a lot better than just blindly like going in and just throwing around. So yeah, Sam definitely knows what he's doing.
I mean, I haven't gotten to
Same thing goes for the rest of these players, I think.
This is bonus round 5. Wow.
Yes. It's East
That's
3
a
bonus
scary
5.
hand. That's scary.
2,500 points bonus to whoever wins.
Yeah.
So looking at their starting hands,
You have the Riichi deposit.
a lot of honor tiles for the most part. Howard has probably a Tanyao in his future. He has especially with 1 Dora, but it's that unfortunate 4-6-7 shape. So there's a possibility that he won't be able to use the Dora.
I was looking at Anderson's second discard there with the 8-pin. I wonder if he's just thinking that his shape is going to revolve around the 5-5-6. Do you think the 8 was necessary? Probably the North might have been a better discard for him to start with. After that, the 9 Mon. The 8-pin certainly has something for him because he can still draw the 7. And then he can, at least in the meantime, hold his 2 5s as a pair.
Yeah. I think what's happening was that the Dora is the 4-pin, and so he wanted to keep the 5-6 shape in there in order to like be able to use the 4-pin. If he draws a 7-pin, then he has a 5-5-6-7-8, and so it's a little bit awkward to use a Dora. Not extremely awkward, but it's a little bit awkward.
True, but if he had drawn the 7 first, it's not like as if before he couldn't use
Yeah.
or 5-5-6-7-8 shape, and he could always discard the extra 5. Basically, 2 runs in his hand point.
Yeah, it's true. He would have a 4-5-5-6-7-8. Drop the 5, 4-5-6-7-8. That's still a 3-way wait. So it's still in his best interest to keep the 8-pin. I'm just trying to explain his possible thought process because something similar kind of popped up in my head too.
So again, ignore the fact that Sam's Riichi stick is still in the middle. He has called for his Yakuhai, and is basically Ishanten for Toy Toy. So, and which could possibly be Mangan if he gets the last white the Haku, the white dragon available.
If he gets the last white dragon, or if he manages to get the Sananko as well, then it's possible.
Howard's called once already and is already sitting Tenpai, but just waiting on the Formon,
Oh, and he sumoed it. Awesome.
which he just got.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, with 4 Homba sticks and a Riichi stick out there, he basically tripled his output. Oh, wait, he had two Doras, so never mind, he didn't triple it, but he still doubled it actually.
Yeah, Sam and Howard had the right idea with just sitting extra available to all the players. If you're able to find a quick hand to go for it, it just so happened that in both Howard's and Sam's cases, their hands were a little bit more valuable than just your run-of-the-mill Tenpai or Yakuhai.
Yay, bonuses.
Yeah. Like if it were me, even if I only, I would go for a 1,000 hand even, because yeah, the Riichi stick, the plus 1,200, it's pretty valuable. Especially because right now they're all really close in points. At this point, a Mongon could swing the game from and turn someone from first to fourth. You know what they're talking about? It seems like they're taking a while.
We're almost to south, guys.
Probably sorting out the points with regards to all the hombas and everything.
Okay, yeah. It's hard to keep track of that stuff if you aren't like diligent with bring the homba sticks out.
Oh, no, not double.
Not just that, but just like scoring in general, because for most people, scoring is the last thing that people are able to figure out. So, and that's not a bad thing. It's just the fact of mahjong in general. It takes a while to memorize the tables, or in my case, because I'm weird, memorize the formula.
It's true, yeah. Also, memorizing the formula is pretty impressive. I wouldn't call it weird.
It would just be more difficult.
Whatever works, man. Anyways. Anderson has the nice double white dragon in his hand. I think he's actually going for Chitoitsu based on his 7 so discard. Although I think he might be... Yeah.
No, well, it depends. We'll see if he calls any of the non-Haku tiles. But given the way he's broken out his hand, it definitely looks like he's looking for at least Chitoitsu, if not more.
Well, he called it.
Yep, there you go. Push for Toy Toy at this point, probably.
Yeah.
If he'll probably end up discarding everything but the South, because that's Fedora, and I assume that he'll probably want to make that his pair.
Yeah. But he draws the two mon, so he has to decide if he wants to be efficient or he wants to go for value. Oh, okay. He decides very early on to go for efficiency. To go for value, I mean.
It would have lost anything if he discarded to say the 7 mon instead of the 2. Another 2, and then we could try to go a different way or continue calling. But discarding like even the 7 mon might have been better at that point, or even the North, so that he could keep some of that flexibility there.
Yeah. The nice thing, the 5 pin might have been also a good discard because he already dropped the 7 pin, so that gives him slightly fewer tiles to work with if he wants to avoid Furuten.
Oh, if he's going for the toy shape, then it doesn't. Then I'm not sure how much that matters.
It's a matter like just for flexibility.
Because
yeah, just for flexibility's sake.
Right.
I mean.
I was going to say that the 2-mon discard probably also happened because if he was looking strictly at Toy, the fact that Sam had already discarded one was probably one of the reasons why he decided to discard his.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It tells me that I could have held on to it for longer.
No, I don't like holding dragons.
I like holding dragons.
I want dragons. You're wrong, and you should feel bad.
It's okay.
So,
Okay, so Anderson dropped the Dora. I guess he decided that it's not worth keeping his hand because it'll become dangerous later, and it's less likely to come out. So he just wants to keep his 5 other or 4 other pairs.
Yeah, he drew the 5-pin, it looks like, so he's got technically has got his final shape already decided. So the south just becomes extraneous at this point. At least if he wants to. So the south was better off being discarded earlier rather than later.
Yeah. There was still the possibility that he could draw the other souths though. So I guess it's a matter of how much risk you want to take on when going for your hand. And in his case, he decided he didn't want to take that risk at all.
It is now Ishanten having drawn the 3rd eight, so.
Ooh. I want to see him get the Sananka. Nope. So looking at
The problem is that 2 of the 5 pins are stuck in other people's hands. At least 5 pins and 2 of the 4-mons are in other people's hands. So he can't actually win this hand as it stands unless somebody helps him out by discarding those tiles.
Well, you see, Sam just Riichi'd, and on the 6-mon, the 3-mon happens to be Suji. So if someone really wants to push, then they could be dropped. Oh,
Damn it. Beach, you putts.
never mind. Alex decided to push with 5-7 instead. So
2,900.
Lily, I guess they call
Let's
one
keep
point.
playing until they tell us.
Yeah, I saw that he had called with the Green Dragon, or the Hatsu, but there was still a ways to go with the hand.
I'm dealer, bro. Dealer.
Against the dealer reach. I could not tell if he had anything else that was safe. It might have been better to err on the side of caution and try to dodge Sam's reach.
okay.
I totally mind. Dora?
Another good Dora.
By good, you mean usable, and I agree.
So looking at their hands this time, I see a lot of stray honor tiles. Sam can possibly get a Sanchoku out of his,
At least it's not
and as dealer he'll be extra incentivized to try to call and get the Tenpai really fast.
hard to use it.
He can actually get a Chanta out of it too if he gets lucky, but he has to deal with a Ryeonmin for one of his groups. I feel like Anderson is going like yeah, go. I feel like Anderson is like Chitoitsu and Toy Toy Magnet. He keeps getting these pairs and triplets and just going, hey, I want to go for Chitoitsu. Let's do it. Like just judging by the way he always gets them.
Yeah, and let's see here. Drew another 6-0, so there you go.
Another dragon? No, seems
It's not a very usable card.
M shape is not looking like it's going to head towards the Sanchoku route because he's drawn a lot of pairs. He's ended up with 3 Ninthos at this point. It's even though it's not progressing towards a necessarily expensive hand, it's still progressing fairly quickly compared to most of the others at this point.
Yeah. Sanchokus are nice to have, but it's not really something you need to go for. And especially as dealer, it's best to just take anything. No need to force it. So he drew the 5-pin. And discards the 8, so... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... I think... What do you think about that?
Except, The thing is that like with the if you're looking to discard out of that shape, I probably would have discarded the 6 more than the 8. Because at least then you could still draw either the 7 or the 8. The worry was that you already had your pair with the 2 8-pins. Especially since he's not, discarded 8, which Anderson has called the 6, and is just proceeding now for, well, he's Tempai on the 4-pin. But my guess is that he probably wants to see if he can't push it further and try to get a Toy shape.
Yeah. If he wants to get
Howard's also
Yep.
called, and he's at this point he's looking for an Itsu shape.
Itsu? Oh yeah. Oh, Howard, yeah. It's one of those difficult Itsus once again though, because one of them is going to be a 5, the other one's going to be a 7. Those are both tiles which are kind of hard to get. And if we look at these players' hands, then we can already see that Anderson has 2 of the 5s in his hand. So it's going to be extra hard.
I think that indication that Sam would be discarding Monzu at this point would have been fine with Howard calling that, but it doesn't look like Sam wants to or has had the ability to, so I think this makes it a little bit extra harder for Howard at this point.
Yep.
And if he's going to continue pushing with the hand, if he ever draws the 4-pin, that would be it.
Don't worry. Imagine everyone that uses his hand is shit too.
Brooks has managed to get into Ishanten for Tanyao, but his weights unfortunately aren't all that great.
And it backfired on him too. That's very unfortunate.
There's not a whole lot you can do because the other shape that he has is the 6-6-8 of Monzu and the 8's the Dora.
Yeah.
Choose between the 6-8-8 or the 6-6-8. I probably would have made the same decision.
I don't know, like, I'm not saying this is right. If it were me, I probably would have dropped the 6-mon instead, just to guarantee that I can use the Dora.
Maybe, but I don't know if I'd want to commit myself.
You have to drop one of the pairs, so not sure. Okay. Oh, Sam got into Senpai with a 7-pin, 8-pin weight. And there are still, from his perspective, 3 of them out there. From our perspective, there's still 2 of them out there. So, it's not bad. Especially because he set a Sudi trap out with his 5-pin.
Technically safe.
Very sick. Unless he's going for orphans. I was like, wow, don't call it Greek Dragon yet.
Anderson has broken his Tempai after the reach, which I think he might have. I'm trying to see the order here.
Anderson
I think
broke
he did.
his Tenpai a while back when he drew the 2-pin and discarded the 3-pin. So he's committing really hard to try to get the Toy Toy.
Oh.
Yeah. Riichi, Dora, Ronin on Howard. That's really nice because Howard was first and Sam was second, so this will flip their placements, I think. What? Not quite?
No.
No, not quite. Yeah. But this does put Sam in a nice position because he only needs to win small hands in order to get up to first. And then, as a reminder, this is a 1 hour timed game, so we are actually nearing the end. Not quite the end, but there are only about 10 minutes left.
What the fuck? Hey! Mine again?
Ooh, and Sam gets 3 pays, 3 norths. So he's already like 1 step there. In fact, Sam's hand is looking very fast. He has 2 Rionmen in his hand. He has a pair already. And then he has a hanchan, which is like very alright. But for being east and just needing to get into senpai for the reach, that's pretty good already.
Yeah, but the only thing that could make it better is if he'd be able to call at some point, make a call. And to that extent, I might have discarded the 8-so instead of the Haku, because at this point, if you're looking for a quick hand, something you can do is hold on to some of those honors in case you draw another, so then you can make a quick call and then push yourself to Tenpai if you're really looking for something quick.
Yep, that's a good point. Especially because with the 8-so, the only draw you'd be happy with is really the 7-so. If you drew the 6 or the 9, then you're basically kind of at the same position that you were before. So it might
And
be
it's
better
probably the
just-
weakest part of your...
Yeah, the weakest part of your hand.
Hey, I got the run of dragons again. Boosh!
On the other hand, Anderson decided to drop his 1 pin, even though he had a pair there. I'm not really sure what the thought process is. I think Chun might be better there because he's missing a pair, and the only possibility to get a good weight with his pair would be with a 5-8, a 5-6-7-8 shape at the moment. But right now he does need value, so that could probably play into that somehow.
It is. There is a to discarding the Chun. I don't necessarily mind the discard of the 1 pins because the only thing it can end up being, more than likely than not, is just a set of 1s, and you're going for, you know, unless you're hoping for Uradora or you're hoping for W as much. So he's maybe hoping that he can just draw around the rest of his tiles. Probably would have been the better thing to start off with.
So if he's going for value, he actually gave up a Sanshoku just now because he had a 6-7-9 shape, and if he dropped a 6 pin, then he would have had a guaranteed 7-8-9 Sanshoku, but it would have been slower.
Yeah, the one person right now that can possibly have a fast hand is Howard, if he can get his the 30s.
Yeah, it's still East round right now, so it should be pretty easy for him to call that, and then just start calling the rest of his hand. He has a bunch of pairs, so yeah.
With it is that if he holds on to the East, you know, if he ends up having to make that his pair, then in terms of value-wise, it's not going to be worth as much, right?
Yeah. The nice thing though is that he has a bunch of pairs in his hand, so in the worst case, he can go on a Shanpon weight, and so he has a possibility that his East will be part of his weight in the end. Anderson actually drew a second East, a second Dora, so he was probably looking to make that his pair, dropping a 9-mon, and then I'm not sure what he's going to be doing the rest of his hand because he dropped a 7 pin, and like destroying the 6-7 shape he had.
I like how this is like the Una version of Skip.
He, it seems like he recognizes the two Dora. I think then if that were the case, then would have been the better thing to discard.
What happens if you get
Um,
draw tiles for the rest of the round?
What would have been a better
see
thing?
what the 9-mon?
Yeah.
Oh, 3 8s.
Yeah, if he drops a 9-mon, then he gets a guarantee that he'll use his double Dora in some shape. And then he
Because
draws
now
a
he's
7.
sitting with because he's discarded the 7-pin. His remaining that are kind of loose are the 9-mon and the 6-pin, and because he's dropped the 7, able to be able to work around that 6. That was another 9. That's probably the only best case scenario he has. But seeing as though 2 are already out, like it wouldn't actually help him all that much. Interested to see how he tries to finish up his hand at this point.
Yeah.
Where are you? Oh,
I was looking at Alex's hand earlier. He had been sitting on 3 pairs, and he's managed to still have the 3 pairs, but he's been able to at least draw around around the 4, so he can possibly turn it back into some type of, well, at least possibly a Tanya Pingfu shape.
Yeah. This definitely looks like a tiny Pinchu now. He just needs to drop one of his pairs at this point. Probably the 8-pin? Yeah.
I don't know. If he was to look across from him, was discarded, I would have probably actually gone with the 4-mon.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sam.
It's a little hard to say because the same could be said looking at Anderson's discards, that the Monzu would be dangerous on that side. So I did that way, then probably the 8-pin was the better discard.
Yeah. Howard had discarded the 8-pin somewhat recently, so that's like one possible indicator that the 8-pin might be somewhat safe. Oh. Alex managed to draw the 6 though, and now he's in 10-5 for a 4-7 pin. There's, from his perspective, only one of them out there, but there is the possibility of a Honitsu from Sam from his perspective. We know that as commentators, but he doesn't. But he goes for it anyways because he needs the points.
Yeah, he's behind. If it weren't for the fact that he was sitting in 4th place, I would have considered dumb attending this hand, because I don't see the already, but I don't see where it is from anywhere else, so never mind.
Riichi Pot's Tanya Pingfu. Yeah, it's a very meaty manga.
The E-pot certainly hurts.
Yeah, Howard got a bit greedy there, I think, with 7-pin. Especially because Alex had dropped the 8-pin once and then he dropped it again. So that's sort of signaling that his weight will be around there. So it looks like that's the end of the round. Congrats to Sam for winning. Good job to Alex for stealing 2nd place. Nice try, Howard and Anderson. Okay, so this is Patrick from Riichi Mahjong Club.
And this is Edwin.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.
On the nose? No hundreds, no thousands?
Okay.
I've gotten even.